Hi everyone, I'm Renee Seiler, the manager of the Convo. Black entrepreneurship is surging across America. Of course, you don't need us to tell you that. You're probably part of that group, or maybe you want to be. Check out these numbers. According to the 2022 State of Black Entrepreneurship in America report by the Kauffman Foundation, the number of Black business owners in the United States grew by 38% between February 2020 and September 2021. And get this, more than 61% of new Black-owned businesses formed in 2020 were started by Black women. But you'll recall, and I mean, who could forget really, the pandemic years. Lower interest rates, shifting consumer behavior, and necessity-driven entrepreneurship created a unique window. But the tide is still rising, and Black business owners are hungry to plant flags and build empires. And that means there need to be even more incentives for entrepreneurs to make a big, bold move. So we thought it might be a good time to check out the landscape for those who might be looking to relocate, looking for a place with friendlier economic conditions, perhaps more opportunity. So we here at the Convo identified top spots for ambitious Black entrepreneurs by analyzing cities across 8 key criteria. Those criteria that we used are access to capital and funding. The lack of generational wealth makes this essential. A supportive local business community for mentoring, networking, and sharing vital resources. Affordable housing and living costs. That allows the entrepreneurs to focus on building their ventures. Quality of life factors like public safety, diversity, healthcare, and more all allow people to thrive personally and professionally. A talented and diverse workforce powers innovation and attracts skill sets. Favorable policy incentives promote inclusion and equity. Thriving Black communities provide networking, cultural connections, and target markets. And strong transportation, logistics, and infrastructure enable efficient operations. So with that out of the way, here we go. The top 15 cities that shine across these critical areas for Black business success in 2024. Kicking off our list at number 15 is San Francisco, the epicenter of global tech talent. With tech titans like Google, Facebook, and Apple all headquartered in the city, San Francisco attracts exceptionally skilled workers in fields like software engineering and product design. The area also pioneers advancements in biotech, renewable energy, and more, with an educated, diverse talent pool. Top universities like UC Berkeley and Stanford feed the pipeline, and more than 30% of residents hold postgraduate degrees. San Francisco fosters an environment where ideas, human capital, and opportunity collide to drive growth. Policies that champion inclusion and diversity cement the city's status as a hub for ambition and innovation. In fact, more than 35% of residents hail from immigrant backgrounds. The biggest downside, however, is it's expensive to live there, thanks to sky-high housing costs driven by high salaries and limited space. Our next 3 cities score high on affordable housing thanks to economic and demographic struggles of recent decades. But there's also opportunity amid the challenge. Kicking off this affordable trio at number 14 is St. Louis. The greater metro area has experienced notable population decline since its 1970 peak of 2.9 million residents. Today, that number stands at 2.8 million. Compounding its woes, St. Louis also struggled to retain major employers. An aging housing stock left some neighborhoods blighted, but there are some bright spots as parts of the city revive. Home prices actually dropped 7% over the past decade when adjusted for inflation. Next up at number 13 is Columbus, Ohio. While recent economic growth is healthy across sectors like education, manufacturing, and technology, ample undeveloped land means more housing supply. From 2010 to 2020, housing units grew 12%, while the population rose just 10%. Going forward, further expansion should keep Columbus relatively affordable thanks to inventory, allowing supply to meet demand. Rounding out our trio at number 12 is Birmingham, Alabama. Now, Birmingham's story rings familiar. Like other manufacturing hubs, the city grappled with a 13% population dip between 1970 and 2010 as industry jobs disappeared. But focused efforts to court growth sectors have shown promise. Birmingham is strengthening its foothold in healthcare, banking, biotech, and tourism, and that's helping regain some lost ground. However, high poverty rates, depressed consumer purchasing power, and incomes needed to spur a hot housing market. At number 11, Charlotte, North Carolina captures high marks for quality of life. Even though it's among the top 25 largest cities in the U.S., the cost of living remains pretty reasonable, especially when it comes to housing. Low unemployment persists thanks to buzzing industries like banking, and Charlotte delivers on lifestyle with more than 200 sunny days a year and 4 mild seasons that allow for year-round outdoor activity. World-class museums, performing arts, and more than 2,000 eateries share space with pro teams like the Panthers and the Hornets. The talent pipeline stays robust with UNC Charlotte and other schools offering higher ed, and almost 40% of residents hold college degrees. Okay, we're ready to crack the top 10. So coming in at number 10, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Like our previous picks, Steel City scores with budget real estate, pricing 25% national benchmarks. Healthcare, groceries, utilities, and transportation all follow suit. But it's lifestyle that brings the area to the forefront. Wallet Hub placed Pittsburgh at number 2 for the best neighborhood and community environment nationally. Arts, culture, sports, and dining all punch above the city's weight, while costs stay low. Education and recreation abound with marquee schools like CMU and Pitt, and $2 billion invested in green space. Now we're heading westward for our number 9 selection, Portland, Oregon. Portland is lauded for favorable taxes, incentives, regulations, and quality of life. Oregon has no sales tax, and Portland places low for tax burden, number 31 nationally. The corporate structure also shines. Portland sees less red tape around opening restaurants, shops, and bars versus other similarly sized cities. Competitive rebates and credits also draw business, like the Oregon Investment Advantage Program, with sizable tax savings for job-creating investments. Billions have been funneled toward enhancing livability as well, through downtown waterfront renewal, the River District overhaul, and Airport Way upgrades. An environmentally conscious vibe, access to nature, food scene, and attractions boost the city's reputation. And now we have our first tie, this at number 8, between 2 transportation and business hubs, Chicago and Dallas. Chicago takes the medal for logistics strength. Home to the nation's largest inland port, the city links critical air, rail, and highway infrastructure. O'Hare drives global connections as one of the world's busiest airports. And if you've ever been to Chicago, you know how important public transportation is, and a super well-connected system makes it pretty easy to get around. Chicago also stands as the sole meeting point for all 7 Class 1 railroad carriers with 500 freight trains daily. Supportive business community also ranks high here. Illinois incentives routinely rank as America's most competitive. Tax breaks, grants, and eased regulations attract investment. Local governments court corporations with over $60 billion in expansions since 2010. Incubators and accelerators actively nurture startups, while larger companies mentor through academic programs. Heading south to Dallas, the other city in our tie, the talent pool takes center stage. The 7 million strong metro area provides a large, demographically diverse hiring base. 40% of Dallas residents were born abroad or in different states, seeding new perspectives. Ranking number 4 for net migration, Dallas brings an infusion of fresh talent annually as people flock to the area. With highways and rail connections crisscrossing the state, plus 2 major airports, Dallas furnishes top-notch regional and national logistics. From Dallas, we're going to head south about 200 miles to the city that landed at number 7 on our list, Austin. Austin scores with an extremely business-friendly tax environment. Texas has no personal or corporate income tax, while Austin specifically flaunts lower property taxes. The permitting process earns high marks for efficiency as well. State policies and incentives actively champion local business growth, innovation, and economic expansion. Austin frequently tops rankings for technology, education, affordability, and livability. Easy access to nature with its lush parks, trails, lakes, and rivers allows relaxing or adventuring, all just outside the city. Coming in at number 6 on our list, Durham, North Carolina, highlighted for access to capital and a thriving Black community. Part of North Carolina's Research Triangle, Durham sees more than $1 billion in annual venture capital investments thanks to robust startup support. Incubators, accelerators, and co-working spaces connect entrepreneurs to angel and VC financiers. More than 40% of Durham's residents are Black. In fact, Durham ranks number 2 for African American population concentration among all U.S. cities. Number 5 on our list, Memphis, Tennessee, with its trifecta of affordable housing, strong Black community, and prime transportation infrastructure. Memphis home prices are well below national averages, with median list prices at $159,000 compared to $315,000 nationally, according to Realtor.com. Rents are also lower than average. Low property taxes and affordable suburbs make it an attractive choice for families. Roughly 65% of Memphis' population is African American, but one of the areas where Memphis really shines is transportation and logistics. Memphis International Airport is the world's busiest cargo airport and home to the FedEx Global Super Hub. The Port of Memphis is America's 4th busiest inland port, situated right there along the Mississippi River. And then there's the logistics workforce. There is a large pool of experienced logistics professionals, as well as programs through the University of Memphis to develop future talent. All this gives companies access to qualified personnel for supply chain and operations roles. Coming in at number 4 is New York City, achieving high marks for access to capital, supportive business climate, and abundant talent. With more than $14 billion in venture capital in 2021, New York tops many lists for investment volume. Great news for those seeking backers. Tax incentives like Relocation and Employment Assistance Program, REAP, offer up to $3,000 per employee relocated or hired. Other initiatives provide grants, subsidized loans, and more. While strong chambers of commerce and advocacy groups champion business-friendly regulations and policies to attract companies. A metro population exceeding 20 million allows firms to leverage wildly diverse talent pools in terms of backgrounds, education, skills, and industries, and more than 3.5 million foreign-born residents contribute to global perspectives. Heading out west, Los Angeles captures our number 3 spot for access to capital, business climate, and workforce diversity, plus travel connectivity. In 2021, LA ranked number 2 for VC investment volume at over $27 billion, with prominent backers actively funding the startup scene. State and local incentives stoke the investment fires as well. LA has opportunity zones to spur development, along with relocation workforce incentives. With 13 million strong, the metro area sees 224,000 annual graduates across a variety of backgrounds. The workforce speaks more than 200 languages, fostering unique viewpoints. And let's talk about LAX. 70 million people flew into LAX in 2022, and there are nonstop flights going to more than 160 spots around the globe. On top of that, the Port of LA moves about $1 billion worth of stuff each day, from cars and electronics to grain and fertilizer and everything in between. If you put all that together, you've got a serious transportation command center, enabling companies large and small to move products efficiently. Washington, D.C. secures our number 3 spot for access to capital, supportive business community, talented workforce, favorable climate, and thriving Black population. The region sees over $4 billion in annual VC investments and is home to East Coast outposts of prominent Silicon Valley firms. Government grants provide funding for local startups and minority-led ventures. With more than 25 incubators and innovation hubs fostering startups, groups like the DC Chamber of Commerce offer many resources. A concentration of NGOs, lobbyists, and policymakers enables networking and support. DC's highly educated population provides a constant influx of political, research, and advocacy talent, and more than 1/3 of Metro residents identify as African American. In fact, DC has the most college-educated Black population nationwide. Okay, here we are. Time for our winner, and the number 1 spot on our list goes to 2 cities. We're gonna head back to Texas for this one, and it's Houston. Houston saw more than $600 million in VC funding in 2021, with organizations like the Houston Angel Network and TMC Innovation Institute actively connecting startups and investors. Business incentives like the Texas Enterprise Fund attract capital, while state tax exemptions incentivize investments. The Greater Houston Partnership works across sectors to foster connections and improve the business climate. Co-working spaces and incubators specifically promote collaborations. Texas has no personal or corporate income tax, and Houston specifically has very low tax rates. Houston's population is highly educated and ethnically diverse. More than 145 languages are spoken in Houston, which thrives on international industry contributions. Regarding transportation and logistics, the Port of Houston and 2 international airports make trade accessible. Regarding a thriving Black population, more than 530,000 African American-owned firms operate in Houston. That's 30% higher than the national average, suggesting a vibrant and supported community. And the second city, as part of our tie, at the very top of the list, come on now, you know it's Atlanta. Access to capital and funding, supportive business community, favorable taxes and regulations, incentives, talented and diverse workforce, and a thriving Black population are all the reasons that Atlanta landed right at the top. Atlanta snagged more than $1.2 billion in VC investments in 2021, with active funding from groups like Atlanta Tech Angels, Black Angel Syndicate, and other VC firms. State tax credits give up to $5,250 for every new job you create. And then there are renewable enterprise zones, also incentives for business investments. Resources like the ATDC Startup Incubator, Atlanta City Studio, Chambers of Commerce, and entrepreneurial centers assist small business growth and innovation. Co-working spaces and industry events foster connections to mentors, talent, and incentives. Georgia ranked number 1 nationally for ease of business compliance, low corporate taxes, and custom relocation packages. The metro area provides access to the 10th largest college-educated workforce and top universities. Atlanta Hartsfield International Airport connects Atlanta globally with direct cargo flights alongside comprehensive rail and highway routes regionally. Atlanta has a thriving Black population, with African Americans comprising 58% of the population. The city leads in majority Black-owned business headquarters, cultural institutions, and political leadership. And of course, Atlanta is home to Traffic, Sales, and Profit. Traffic, Sales, and Profit is a community of ambitious people with a shared passion for Black empowerment through entrepreneurship. Our live events and signature programs train our community of more than 45,000 African American entrepreneurs, on proven strategies and sustainable systems that help their businesses reach their first 6 figures, 7 figures, and beyond. If you want to learn more about how to take your business to the next level, check us out at trafficsalesandprofit.com. Thanks so much for joining us for the best places for Black business 2024. We here at the Convo and at Traffic Sales and Profit wish you a happy and prosperous 2024.
3, 2, 1.
The Convo, the 2-time 2023 Telly Award-winning network and your home for conversations around Black wealth, available on all platforms.